Hello everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Google Pixel 9 and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy A55 and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now this is interesting because both these phones are very different. The Google Pixel 9, I would say, it is a more expensive phone overall than the Galaxy A55, but the A55 is still, it's about half the price I would say right now in the used market, even in the brand new market almost, as the Pixel 9. But let's go and see how both these phones kind of compare. If you want to pick up either one of these devices though, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, on the front of the Samsung Galaxy A55, you're getting a fairly large 6.6-inch Super AMOLED display. This is a fairly big panel. It's 1080p. It does give you a 120Hz panel, which is very, very nice, and it is a whole punch display as well. So it is overall a pretty good looking device. It's not perfect by any means, but I do think if you're going to go through and pick up a device, like this thing is not a terrible device, and I do think it's a good panel. Samsung makes some of the best panels of all time, and even though this thing is like a more budget display, it's still a very, very good option when it kind of comes down to it. Now, on the Google Pixel 9, on the other hand, this phone on the front is giving you a 6.3-inch OLED display. So this is also 1080p and it's also 120Hz. But here's the thing about these two panels, right? The Galaxy A55's panel is supposed to be more of a budget display. It's supposed to be more of a budget phone. Whereas on the Google Pixel 9, this type of phone is basically going to be giving you essentially a 2700 nits of brightness, very good display. Like this is easily one of the best displays you can buy inside of a phone. Maybe not the best one, but it is a very, very good option inside of the Google Pixel 9. And it is a significantly better display in almost every single way over the Samsung Galaxy A55. So keep that in mind, but that's kind of how these two phones kind of compare, at least from the display perspective. On the bottom, you're getting a USB Type-C port on both, which is great. I would say the build quality of the Galaxy A55 is maybe not as good as the Pixel 9, but it's still a pretty good feeling phone and pretty good looking phone as well. On top of that, some other big things to keep in mind here too. They both are giving you, I guess, this like glass back on the backside, which again is very nice to have. I'm very happy that we're having that on the A55. A triple camera setup inside of the A55, dual camera setup inside of the Pixel 9, and that kind of covers it up there for the most part. Now, some other things to keep in mind here too. The Google Pixel 9 is giving you reverse wireless charging, where the Galaxy A55 is not giving you any of that. Meaning that if you're going to go through and you're going to, want to reverse wirelessly charge a phone, you're not going to be able to do that on the Galaxy A55, but the A55 also is not giving you any wireless charging either. That in and of itself can be another very annoying thing going on for that phone as well. Like if you're going through and picking up a device, why would you want to go and buy a phone that's going to be giving you basically like no wireless charging? That's a fairly outdated type of thing going on for the A55. And I would say, in my personal opinion, that does kind of suck a little bit. So that right there, kind of keep that in mind as well. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it can be a very, very weird thing for that particular device. In terms of battery sizes though, the A55 is giving you a 5000 mAh battery, the Pixel 9 is giving you a 4700 mAh battery. So a slightly bigger size battery inside of the A55, and that could reroute you to thinking that the A55 is going to be giving you better battery life, and I would probably agree with that for the most part. So in terms of that kind of covers it up in terms of the outside. Price tag wise, like I mentioned before, the A55 I think you can buy on Amazon for probably less than $300 right now. With the Pixel 9, it just came out, so it's still about $700-ish, $800-ish at that point. So just kind of keep that in mind there when it kind of comes down to it. So overall, from the exterior, that kind of covers it up there. In terms of the cameras, both are going to be giving you interesting type of layouts. So with the Galaxy A55, it's a triple camera setup, wide, ultra-wide, and macro lens, whereas on the Google Pixel 9, you're getting a wide and ultra-wide camera. So here's the thing I'll tell you about this camera. I think the camera on the Samsung Galaxy A55 just isn't as good as the camera on the Pixel 9. So on the Pixel 9, immediately you can do 4K at 60 on the front and the back. That is automatically just a significantly bigger difference than having 4K at 30 on the front and the back that the Galaxy A55 has. Although, again, it's not the biggest deal in the world, you are definitely going to be getting an overall better experience inside of something like the Samsung Galaxy A50. You're going to be getting a better experience inside of the Google Pixel 9 rather than the Samsung Galaxy A55. So that right there, once again, is a pretty big thing to kind of keep in mind there if you're going to go through and pick up a device. So in my personal opinion, I do think this is a pretty big difference here. And if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, I definitely do like having a phone like the Google Pixel 9, by giving me that type of capability automatically. On top of that, there's no 8K on either one of these, but I do like the fact that the Google Pixel 9 is giving me that type of capability built in straight immediately as soon as I go and pick up that phone. So that in and of itself, I think, is a really big thing kind of keep in mind there for that particular device as well. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to these two phones, I would say from the software perspective, it is a very, very big thing to keep in mind here that the Google Pixel 9 is basically going to be one of those phones that's going to be lasting. It's probably going to be one of the longest lasting phones right now, but it's definitely going to be a very long lasting phone compared to the Galaxy A55. The A55, for better or for worse, is pretty much it's not done getting software updates, but it's probably within the next 2 or 3 years is pretty much going to be done. So what is going to be the point of picking up a phone like the Galaxy A55 if you have the option of buying a Google Pixel 9, in my personal opinion? So I do think this in and of itself, once again, is another very big thing to keep in mind. I would much rather prefer buying a phone like this, Google Pixel 9 that's going to be lasting a significantly longer period of time than the Samsung Galaxy A55 when it comes down to it. So once again, that's kind of a big thing to kind of keep in mind there as well. On top of that, when it comes down to some other things between both these phones, I like both these phones. I think they're very, very good, but the performance of these devices are very interesting as well. With the Samsung Galaxy A55, you're going to be getting an Exynos 1480 chipset inside with 6, 8, or 12 gigabytes of RAM. I have no idea why you need, whatever. The Google Pixel 9, on the other hand, you're getting a Google Tensor G4 chipset inside with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So you have the option of speccing out either one of these phones for that 12 gig of RAM option. But here's the thing, it is going to be more expensive. So are you okay with spending more money inside of a phone if it means that you're not going to be getting, basically, that means you're going to be spending more money on the Galaxy 55, which means that pricing threshold is going to be it's going to be even bigger difference. So once again, kind of keep that in mind. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but just kind of keep that in mind when it kind of comes down to it. In my personal opinion, I think the Google Pixel 9's performance is definitely going to be far superior than the Samsung Galaxy A55. I think the A55 is still good. It's still going to be able to give you the decent experience in some ways. But I don't know, right? I look at the A55 and I feel like it is a little bit of a slower device because it is. But also, if you're going to have to spend way more money to spec that particular phone out to the 12 gig of RAM option, why not just buy a Pixel 8 or Pixel 9 at that point, or a Google Pixel 8? Either one is probably going to be giving you an overall better experience than these ones. So I think that's kind of how I see it in my personal opinion. But I do think the Galaxy A55 is okay, but the Google Pixel 9 is definitely a far faster phone when it comes down to it over the Galaxy A55. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is I love the Google Pixel 9 and I like the Galaxy A55. I think the A55 is a very good phone for its experience that you're getting. But I don't know, I look at that phone and I do feel like the, Google Pixel 9 is probably the better one in almost every single way. I can't really think of a way the A55 is better besides having a slightly bigger size battery. Beyond that, in almost every single way, I look at a phone like the Pixel 9 and I do think that is overall the best one here in my personal opinion. So that kind of covers it up here for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, so long.